Hey guys, what's going on? James here, and in this video today, we're going to be going over some quotes from General Manager Jason Licht and how it relates to the idea of the Bucs possibly trading down in the 2025 NFL Draft, specifically in the first round. So Jason Licht gave a pre-draft press conference on April 10th, and guys, there's a lot of really interesting quotes and questions that were asked in that press conference. I have like 6 or 7 videos that are going to be made off of that one press conference alone. But today we're focusing on the possibility of the Bucs trading down. So, in this initial couple of questions here, Jason Licht was asked on Licht saying he wouldn't be opposed to trading down, and if that's more the case, especially this year with this draft, Jason Licht had this to say. I don't know about more. There have been years where I've thought about it more than others. It just kind of depends on how things fall. You can't walk into it saying, I am definitely looking to trade back, because you don't know what's going to fall to you. I do think this year is going to be, I could be wrong, you're going to see maybe a little less people maybe wanting to move up and offering enough to make it worth your while, just because the draft is pretty leveled out at a certain point. You might be able to get the same level of player in the second round as you can in the fourth round at certain positions, so I think you'll maybe see a little bit less of that. So that's a very interesting quote there, and I do want to dive into that here in a moment. But then, when asked on if his consideration in trading down has to do with his success in later rounds in previous drafts, Jason Licht had this to say. It might have something to do with it, but I think it's just the way the draft is. We've had some good production. My staff and the coaches have done a great job. The last 3 years, I would say combined, those drafts were elite when you put them all, add them all together. We want to try to keep doing it. It doesn't always work out that way, but keep doing it. I think this particular draft just seems it be a little bit more leveled out, which I'm excited about. I'm not saying that's something I don't like about this draft. It's something I do like about this draft. So again, what does leveled out mean? Well, Jason Licht did go, by the way, this is the exact transcripts, by the way. So any type of grammatical errors or wording errors, I mean, hey, that came out of Jason Light's, own words, okay? But basically what leveling out means is that, again, Jason Licht explained it right here in terms of what that means. You might be able to get the same level of player in the second round as you can in the fourth round at certain positions. Does that mean running back? Does that mean wide receiver? Does that mean cornerback? I don't know. Right? I don't necessarily know. I feel like that is also up to interpretation in some way, shape, or form. But I do agree with Jason Licht here, where he says you don't go into the draft saying, hey, I'm for sure going to trade back from pick number 19. It completely depends on how the board is going to fall. You guys just saw in my most recent mock draft, the board fell a specific type of way at pick number 19, where the best players available were a couple of wide receivers that so far to this point, as of the recording of this video, the Bucs have not shown a ton of interest in, and a couple of high-tier offensive tackles who the Bucs wouldn't necessarily be interested in either, in my opinion. So in that type of scenario, yes, it does raise the likelihood of the Bucs looking to maybe make a trade back. But Jason Licht also kind of covered ground with this as well. Depends on what teams are offering. If you do have a situation where you can get a similar type of player in the second round as you can in the fourth round, well, then teams aren't going to necessarily be willing to trade up. They also aren't going to necessarily be willing to trade up maybe in round number 1 either. So it is very interesting there. And I do agree with the next question that was asked, where Jason Licht and his staff have had a very good amount of success in terms of drafting, especially in, let's say, rounds 3 to 4, right? So that's where they've had some very good success. They've been able to get some very good contributors, even in rounds like 2 as well. You've seen them have success, especially along the offensive line. So that does add another wrinkle into the equation of, hey, maybe the Bucs do want to get another, if they can get, like, say, another day 4 or, a round 4 pick, trading back from pick 19, maybe that makes Jason Licht consider that move more so. But again, it all depends on what teams are offering, and it all depends on how the board is going to fall in these types of scenarios. I believe Jason Light and the Buccaneers, at least in round one, have only traded back twice during their tenure. I know they traded back whenever they selected Vita Vea. I believe they traded back one more time. They did whenever they traded out of the first round entirely in the Logan Hall draft. So they've traded back in the first round twice in the Jason Light era. Keep in mind, Jason Light has been with the Buccaneers for over a decade at this point. So it's definitely more times than not Light finds himself and Light's staff finds themselves with a guy that they like at their pick in round number one rather than trading back entirely. But of course, as all good general managers do, you're never going to close the door on any opportunity to get more draft capital, to leave every opportunity open. And that's what the Bucs are doing here, based on my interpretation of this quote, is, hey, they're going to see how the board falls. They're going to see what teams are offering as well. There may be a scenario where teams don't want to move up, right? It takes two to tango. So a lot of people may say, hey, well, the Bucs made this pick at pick 19. What happened here? Well, what if no team calls for pick 19? That's kind of something that isn't necessarily being considered either, in my opinion. Whenever we think about that idea of the Bucs trading back, you've also got to think, well, teams have to have a desire to trade up as well. And if a deal can't be made, a deal can't be made. So there's a lot of factors that go into this. I do believe personally that Jason Light and his staff would obviously love more draft picks, especially if they could get like maybe another third or fourth rounder in some type of trade back, depending on who they were able to trade back with. But we're just going to have to wait and see, right? It's not going to be a guaranteed thing. The Bucs are for sure going to trade back here at pick 19 right now today. But if we do get to the draft, we go to pick 19 and there's not a lot of good stuff on the board, 100%. I think is a possibility there in terms of having a deal trade back depending on how the board falls and if teams are interested. But what do you guys think? Let me know your thoughts and opinions about this down in the comments section below. I'd love to hear it. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Hope y'all enjoyed. And as always, guys, I will see you all in the next video or the next live stream. But until then, and as always, guys, goodbye for now and go Bucs.